What up, though? Want to welcome friends of ours to the Court of Public Opinion. I am your host, Demetrius. This is a different type of podcast where we do hot topics, cold topics, shallow dives, deep dives in a way that gives you information that you can use to better your life. And then we judge some shit. And it's nothing wrong with judging. It's nothing wrong with judging. It's the condemnation that comes along with it. But we do that too, all in the most important court in the land, the Court of Public Opinion. And I got a new arrival right here. This is my gavel. I'm not really judging nothing this time. There's nothing to be judged. Let me say this. When I started doing this or even began to prepare to do it, I thought I'm going to run out of stuff to talk about fairly quickly. That is not the case. In fact, there are more things that I would like to talk about that I just do not have the time to get to, in part because of Drake and all of these other cases that just seem to keep coming. Typically, after the new year, there is a specific type of a case that is filed. Normally, that would be divorce cases. And people say, wait, people try to get divorced after the holidays? Yes, that's when you get divorced. Like, a lot of people would think like, oh no, you want to do it before the holidays. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? If you go get divorced before the holidays, right? You got to really start that shit in like May or something like that. But no, typically what happens is if you don't file for divorce like in January, you're not about to do it until the next year, January. Now, don't get me wrong. People get divorced during the year all the time, but that's not when they start coming in for attorneys. It comes in after New Year's. And if you think about it, okay, if you file a divorce and let's say it's not a simple divorce, right? Let's say you file your divorce and your divorce is going to be one of those joints where it's like, this is going to last a bit. You got to get through. If you got kids, let's say you got kids, and we'll do it. And as we go, we'll do it where you don't have kids. But let's say you got kids, right? Okay. So you got kids. That means you got October, which is going to be Halloween. You got to get through that. Then you got to get through it, assuming that you celebrate Western secular, holidays. You got to get through Thanksgiving. Even if you're in Canada, you got to get through Thanksgiving. Wherever you at, it's something Thanksgiving like you got to get through, or because I get confused about whether or not we're calling. I think we replaced Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day or Thanksgiving, because for a while I was calling Thanksgiving Indigenous Peoples Day. But whatever the case, that celebration in November, right? Then you got to get through Christmas. Now, mind you, you go have some birthdays, some events between there. And you got holiday parties. So you got to do all of that. Then you got New Year's. Oh, you got Christmas Eve too. And if you're Jewish, you got all those holidays. If you celebrate Kwanzaa, you got all those. You got a lot of Kwanzaa. You got a lot of shit going on. So it's like, I don't feel like doing this right now. But when the new year come, I'm not carrying this past the first month in the new year. That's normally how it goes. So we see a lot of those cases, but we haven't seen, well, I'm sure there've been, a number of people filed for divorce, but in regards to like high profile cases that people would normally discuss, like, oh, this is going to be a big divorce because they have so many assets, or, they're famous or what have you. Instead, what we're seeing is business disputes. And we're seeing well, I'm not going to call these disputes, but cases come back from years, or we're seeing we're seeing indictment. Well, not indictments. No, yeah, we're seeing indictments, because I haven't covered any of the Diddy stuff yet. So today, my plan was to come in and do like a bunch of miscellaneous things, some of them which have nothing to do with legal cases, but they have everything to do with cases that are going to be decided in the court of public opinion. Now, I may have never explained what the court of public opinion is, in that you got two courts. I think I did in the Drake thing, but let me just run through this really, really quickly. You got the actual court of law, where you're going to go file a complaint, and someone, the trier of fact, judge, jury, eventually, after you get past certain processes, discovery and what have you, they're going to rule on it, and there'll be a judgment. And we in the U.S., U.S. and most places, we award money judgments most times to make people whole. Then you got what's called the court of public opinion, and a lot of shit that happens in society that is judged and people are condemned for, or they have to end up making somebody whole, has nothing to do with the court system. They may do it out of threat of the court system, out of fear that they may be judged harshly by other people, shamed or what have you. That's the court of public opinion. And sometimes you try to win the court of public opinion, which is basically how everyone feels and treats you because of your role in whatever dispute, allegation, or claim someone throws your way, right? So how that turns out as far as like how you are judged by the court of public opinion sometimes can be a matter of how you're judged in court, but sometimes it don't make it to court. So regardless, the court of public opinion always has an opinion, always has a judgment, always has a penalty that it enforces. Sometimes there's no penalty, but no penalty is a penalty, because that can be an encouragement for you to keep doing whatever fuck shit you doing. Right? So right now, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to talk about all the stuff. I'm not going to do it. It's too much. I'm going to talk about some of it, because there's some things I'm like, no, I got to get to. So let me pull up the docket for the day, because I got different sections for stuff that I talk about. The thing I want to get to is this whole Drake, who do you call it? Drake iHeart thing. I want to get to the Drake iHeart thing. Part of me is saying, D, just go ahead, do the Drake iHeart thing, and then get to the other stuff later. Because I have a feeling this is going somewhere. Plus, that would allow me to also get to the Jay-Z thing. So, okay, here we go. Let's just start with the Drake thing. And I may talk a bit about the Jay-Z extortion case and the claims that he's filed against the woman that dismissed her claim against Tim and Puffy for sexual assault. But we're going to start with the Drake joint. Now, this is interesting because I read an article that indicated that, hey, Drake and iHeart settled, or he removed them as a defendant in his suit against Universal. I was like, oh, I know how that goes. I know what that's about. Now, see, this is something for your life. Okay, so this is the setup. When you want, as an attorney, plaintiff, whatever it is, when you're suing somebody, right? My philosophy is sue them all, right? Everybody who's culpable, sue they ass. Put them in there. Why? Because if you've ever seen the show called the First 48? How many hours? I don't know what it is, where the police get people who are criminals to pretty much snitch on each other, right? Same thing applies in a civil context. What you do is you sue everybody. And then the people who really didn't do anything wrong are going to come to you and be like, look, what you want to know? Whatever you want to know, here's the information. You ain't got to sue us to get it. This is our part, and here's some money. Now, I don't know if Drake got some money from this or if he got some information from this. I'm not sure which one it is, but what I do know is sometimes you sue people and you put yourself in a position to be lucky. And let me explain what happened here, because I think this is great strategy. I don't know who is representing Drake in Texas, which is where he filed a verified petition for Rule 202 depositions. Now, in Texas, you're allowed to seek depositions, right? Pre-suit. So you're investigating, you're trying to figure out, okay, did what I think happen to me? And so in Texas, you're able to do this. And so I'm going to read, this is not a very long joint. So I'm going to read the pertinent parts and kind of talk a bit. So here we go. Petitioner Aubrey Drake Graham, Drake or petitioner, they'll refer to him as either one. Now, I believe in referring to my client by their first name in the suit and referring to the defendants as the defendants. I don't want you to think about their names. I want the person reading this to think Drake. I don't want to think nothing else. I don't want them to think iHeartMedia. I don't want them to think UMG. I want them to think Drake. But here we go. Request an order authorized under Texas Rules of Civil Procedure 202 to take pre-suit depositions of the corporate representatives of iHeart and UMG Recordings, which includes Interscope, a wholly owned division of UMG, for which petitioner respectfully shows as follows. Pursuant to Texas Rule of Civil Procedure 190.4, request that discovery be conducted under a level 3 discovery control plan. Not as familiar with Texas law, and anybody who's good at this, I tell you, you look it up. Just look it up. Don't have that much pride because at the end of the day, when you're standing in front of that judge or that jury and you're not prepared, nobody says, they sure got pride. Look at them. They think you don't know what you're doing. Level 3 discovery in Texas. Tejas. Oh, what we got? Okay. It's a tailored discovery process. It applies when a party moves for a customized discovery plan or when the court orders one. Okay. Tailor the discovery plan based on the complexity of the case. I like that. Yeah. I haven't sued anyone in Texas and haven't had the opportunity, but yeah, I like that. That's good for judicial economy, which basically means we move faster, and we don't spend as much money. Efficiency. Okay. So let's see if I think this is the same rundown that we got in the other Drake complaint that I covered. Trying to scan this and see. Okay, no, this one is different because this one includes more of the iHeart information. So we're gonna roll through these facts. I may have some comments in between, but I believe in starting with the meat of the complaint, getting into like all of the, what you call that, the minutia, and coming back in the meat of the complaint. I mean, my conclusion, and then coming back to my conclusion and explaining that a bit more. So Respondent UMG is one of a handful of companies that dominate the multi-billion-dollar music industry. When it comes to the release of new music by its most prominent artists, UMG is meticulous in its planning and execution of the music it releases, promotes, and backs with its considerable financial resources. That is true not just because of the amount of money on the line for UMG and its shareholders, but also because UMG's executives are eligible to receive incentive bonuses based on the revenue generated by their respective divisions. That is very important because if I'm on the other side, I'll just say, man, people just doing their job. But now when you say, no, they're not just doing their job. They're trying to make more money and they engage in these actions because they're trying to make more money. That is a very important point to emphasize. I like that drafting. Earlier this year, one of the artists that UMG has under contract presented UMG with a new song called Not Like Us. Before it approved the release of the song, UMG knew that the song itself, as well as its accompanying album art, music video, attacked the character of another one of UMG's most prominent artists, Drake, by falsely accusing him of being a sex offender engage in pedophilic, there you go, pedophilic acts, harboring sex offenders. It's not funny, especially if you're Drake, but it's when you start reading it, I was trying to, if you saw the other 4 parts, I was trying not to laugh. This is a whole new thing, so I'll still get some giggles. Harboring sex offenders and committing other criminal sexual acts. Never should have told that dude talk about him like in Young Girls. Man, he went ham. Specifically, the song calls Drake a certified pedophile, a predator, and someone whose name should be registered and placed on neighborhood watch. Pursuant to its rights under various contracts, UMG has exclusive control over the licensee of Not Like Us and could have refused to release or distribute the song or required the offending material to be edited and or removed. But then it wouldn't have been hot. I mean, because you would have had to take out the A minor. You had to take out certified pedophile. It's so much. But anyway, that's a business thing. But UMG chose to do the opposite. UMG designed, financed, then executed a plan to turn Not Like Us into a viral mega hit with the intent of using the spectacle of harm to Drake and his businesses to drive consumer hysteria, and of course, massive revenues. That plan succeeded, likely beyond UMG's wildest expectations. That's interesting because I get that he says, I might not have thrown in the wildest expectations because I would want them to be attuned to know what was going to happen exactly. Because this ain't their first rodeo and this ain't the first big song on UMG. When you say beyond their wildest expectations, it's almost like for me, if I'm representing UMG, giving me an out where it's like, I ain't expected to go like this. I ain't expected to be a hit. I ain't no motherfuckers who go like this. So I wouldn't have put that in. UMG released the song Not Like Us on May 4th, 2024, and its music video July 4th, 2024. UMG relied on its exclusive licensing rights and in coordination with known and unknown third parties, utilized every tool in its arsenal to spread Not Like Us. Now, what should have been there, and it's not, and maybe it's coming, is they use every tool in its arsenal to spread. I would have said every tool in their arsenal, legal and legal and illegal to spread Not Like Us. That's what I would have said right there, because that's what I think is about to be alleged. I think this is a Payola, a deposition trying to discern if Payola occurred. UMG made Not Like Us available for radio play, including to iHeartMedia, a mass media corporation headquartered in San Antonio, Texas. iHeart boasts that it is the #1 audio media company in the U.S. based on consumer reach. iHeart claims that it reaches 9 out of 10 Americans every month and has more reach than any other media company in the U.S. iHeart owns iHeartMedia, a freemium broadcast. I like that. I don't think I've heard that before. Podcast, radio streaming, and music streaming platform. Radio stations all over the country, including stations owned by iHeart, have played Not Like Us. UMG and iHeart have a long-standing symbiotic business relationship whereby iHeartMedia pays UMG to license and collect royalties for UMG's artist songs over the radio, airplay, and streaming services. As demonstrated by iHeartMedia's bankruptcy filings in 2018, the amount of money exchanged between iHeartMedia and UMG is substantial. Okay. In the last quarter of 2023, UMG, through its recorded music and music publishing divisions, had an ownership interest in more than 60% of the 100 songs listed in the Billboard Hot 100 radio charts. Without its business deals with UMG, iHeart would lose access to a majority of its top radio hits. Okay. Now, you have to understand, songs played on the radio are licensed. It's not easy to get a radio station to stop playing your song or get them barred, but it can be done. It can be done. So this is not hyperbole on the part of Drake and his attorneys by alleging this, but this is true. On the first week of its release, Not Like Us ranked first on Billboard's Hot 100 with 5 million radio airplay audience impressions. In the week that the Not Like Us music video was released, Not Like Us played on the radio an additional 40 million times. 4 months later, the iHeart leaderboard reported that Not Like Us was among the top 2 songs with the most plays on iHeart radio stations. I wonder what the other one was. I'm just curious. And explained in the newsletter that it had been heard more than 25 million times across iHeart platforms alone. As of the date of this filing, the iHeart leaderboard still reports as among the most widely played songs on iHeart radio stations. Billboard reported as of October 7th, 2024, Not Like Us reached 45.4 million in total audience impressions on radio, with 15 non-consecutive weeks in charge of the R&B hip hop airplay list. Radio was only one of the mediums on which UMG relied to spread Not Like Us. Within a week of its initial release, Not Like Us broke the record for the most streamed song in a 7-day period with 96 million streams. I said it before. Damn. On October 7th, 2024, Not Like Us broke the record for the most weeks, 21, at number 1 on Billboard's Hot Rap Songs, based on streaming sales and radio play. Since its initial release, Not Like Us has been seen and heard billions of times. The record-shattering spread of Not Like Us on streaming sales and radio play was deliberate, and appears to have relied upon irregular and inappropriate business practices. Now, I will say this. Many people in the entertainment industry are reluctant to use the term illegal or what have you in civil complaints. And I don't know if it's because of they may have dirty hands or something like that. And what that means is they've done some shit too. I'm not really sure about that. I don't know if it's professional courtesy. And if you listen to the previous 5 episodes, you know, I have a severe problem with what would we call this? Professional protectionism, lawyers protecting lawyers, police protecting police, famous people protecting famous people. But we all claim we want truth and shit. But it's like, no, I'm not going to say it. But everybody know that type of shit. So according to one inside source known to petitioner, UMG made covert payments to a number of platforms. Who is this source? Because they may not have to testify, and I don't know if Drake is going to get on the stand if this ever even makes it into court. But I would like to know who this insider is. Well, I'm sure UMG would like to know. But they could be an iHeart. They could be an iHeart source. It could be a number of inside sources. Yeah. Including radio stations to play and promote Not Like Us without disclosing those payments to listeners. That is a problem because consumers are then the victims of fraud at that point. If these allegations are true, where we think, hey, this song is going because it's just that good, it's that hot. But in fact, you're paying bots to stream this and send this up the charts to make this song collect accolades. So we think like, oh, this is good. But if you had told us like, yeah, this song is out right now, we got these bots that are playing the song, it's not really streaming 96 million times, we'd be like, what? That would become the story. The song still goes hard. I don't think it would have had the same level of success, though, just to be perfectly honest, if we'd known that. So I think that's a fair allegation. This practice, known as Payola, is prohibited. This is true. Payola basically is pay for play. Give me some money, I'll play your record. That's really what we're talking about. By the communicate or something of value, because in the past, money wasn't the only thing that program directors were given to play songs. They might give prostitutes, pay for sexual services. Let me see. Gifts, extravagant gifts. I don't know if trips or anything like that, but yeah, it was it was crazy. And this suit brings up how far we've come, because for a while back, like in the 80s or 80s and 70s, hell, even the 60s, the songs that were on the charts weren't necessarily always on the charts because those were the best songs. They might be there because somebody's getting paid to play it. They're not even keeping tabs on or somebody's getting paid to say a song is selling more than it was selling. I remember reading that when the Nielsen ratings, I think it was Scantron, something like that, when they would first start instituting that the songs that didn't get a lot of love on the charts shot up, and they were in two categories: songs by Black artists and country artists. So those were the songs. And this is why I say, when it comes to everything that's going on, y'all know I'll be wanting to say his name. Well, oh boy, I'm like, poor white people have much more in common with poor Black people than they do with rich white people. I do not get this. If y'all could stop being racist, you would see what was really going on here and who was really screwing you over. But I digress, and I will get back to this complaint. And see, this is why I was like having that debate about, do I bring up the docket for the day that includes all of the things like TV is the new Bible segment, the who owns what segment, the wild segment. I got to get to that. That's going to be in the next pod. So let me get back to this, because I'm getting on a tangent. I'm going on a tangent. This practice, known as payola, is prohibited by the Communications Act and has been the subject of regulatory scrutiny. In 2006, UMG agreed to pay $12 million in a settlement with the New York Attorney General following an investigation involving accusations that UMG executives had used a broad array of pay-for-play tactics to secure radio airplay for music. And I'm kind of paraphrasing this one. In 2005, UMG was sued by two radio promotion companies alleging fraudulent pay-to-play practices. As of March 7th, 2025, iHeartMedia is involved in several notable legal matters and investigations. FCC investigation into alleged payola and legal dispute with rapper Drake. FTC, Federal Trade Commission, one of my favorite. Well, it was. I don't know what's going on with it now. You don't know with old boy in there. But the FTC is one of my favorite organizations. Institutions. When you have a problem that involves interstate commerce. I first learned about it. Somebody that I knew had a gym membership in Colorado, and they moved. And the contract said, hey, if you move so many miles away, right, then we'll cancel. But they just kept charging him. And so he was like, man, I'm sick of this. So he called the FTC, explained to them what was going on. And so the woman was like, let's call them together. And so he called them and said, hey, y'all keep charging me, And they got into that same old rigmarole of, well, you know how people try to handle you? They kind of finesse you or manipulate you and say like, well, it's really nothing that we can do. You need to do such and such. And that's when the woman from the FTC said, well, this is such and such from the FTC. And I would suggest that you do something, because if I think, what did he say? If it is your contention that you can do nothing, then maybe the FTC will have to launch an investigation to figure out if this is going on not only in Colorado, but all your clubs across the nation. When I tell you, fixed it just like that. Stop charging. And that's when I realized that as a taxpayer and a citizen, you have recourse for a number of things that you think, oh, it's nothing that I can do. No, the government has organizations that are here to help you. You just have to reach out. I can't tell you how many times I've had beef with a company and I'm like, I'm not about to do this. I'm contacting my state attorney general and it's so easy. All you have to do, use Chat GPT. And let me say this, Black people, allies, get off of Twitter. Get off Twitter. Why are we giving money to people to go out here and conduct campaigns against us? Get off of Twitter. Get on Chat. Get on Chat and start trying to talk to Chat about how to help yourself, how to improve your life, how to learn some shit. Chat, powerful tool that I love and I recommend. So stop all the doom scrolling and all this type of shit. No, get on Chat with a purpose and just ask the question how you want it, the goal you want to achieve, put it out there exactly, and let the power of what we call that large language models help you fight the good fight. For that, yeah, that's another side, another show, but I'm just saying. But that being said, we have these organizations that are here to help. And so you just have to use it. Ask Chat. Tell Chat your problem and let it tell you like, oh, this is the organization that you should contact. And it'll give you a link to the complaint form. That's it. You fill that joint out. They're going to contact whoever it is that's trying to fuck you over. They go take care of it. Yeah. So FCC investigation, FTC. Now this FTC one I don't know about. They're investigating iHeartMedia for airing advertisements. I like to say it like that rather than advertisements. Advertisements in which radio personalities endorse the Google Pixel for a smartphone without having used it. Okay, that's a separate thing. But this is the thing about Drake and why I was saying like sometimes you get lucky. When Drake filed this, I don't think iHeart was being investigated for anything. Let me check. When was the FCC investigation announced? The February 24th, 2025. And this was filed in November. And this is what I'm saying. If you feel like you've been wrong, sometimes you just need to go ahead, step out on faith a little bit and like, let me see what happens. Let me see if I get lucky. And I know somebody may be saying like, what do you mean get lucky? iHeart wanted to get out of this shit. I bet. That's what I'm betting. If you already got the FCC looking at you for payola, then you got a rapper who is one of the biggest, if one of the biggest, maybe top 3 artists in the world saying you engaged in payola and he wants to depose executives in your company. You know what's going to happen. Let me tell you what's going to happen with those depositions. They will get subpoenaed. If not that, hell, Drake may just give them to the FCC. So, and you got to answer some hard ass questions. You don't want that. You don't want none of this. The only thing you want to do is make money how you been making money. And so what would you do? You settle this shit. Like, look, you sit down with Drake, say, look, whatever information you need, we'll give it to you, but we don't want the CEO, CFO, CMO, all them C's. We don't want that. We don't want them in a deposition. So what is it going to take? I would imagine it would take some money, but let's see. Let's see. This is not the settlement document between them. Only Drake and a bunch of people at iHeart know what that settlement was like. That being said, petitioner has learned of at least one UMG employee making payments to an independent radio promoter who agreed to transfer those payments to certain radio stations and or radio station employees. These radio stations subsequently played Not Like Us, and to petitioners' knowledge, did so without disclosing to listeners that they had been paid by UMG. Petitioner has been unable to confirm whether any iHeart stations were among the stations paid as part of UMG's pay to play scheme, or whether they were any direct payments from UMG to iHeartRadio to promote Not Like Us. So see, this is the thing. Now that's open. That's saying we don't know if they did. And Drake, they could very well be lying. They could know, right? And if it's like y'all talking in settlement discussions, and typically settlement discussions can't be used in the court of law. Court of public opinion, you probably use the shit out of them. You can say, oh, they said such and such. They said this. Court of law, you can't use it because you want to encourage people to settle, right? And if you know, like, you want the people to speak candidly, to be honest and presenting like, hey, I feel like this, I feel like that, without worrying about repercussions in the law. So you can't use settlement discussions as evidence in the court of law. That being said, I'm sure during them settlement discussions, if I'm Drake, I'm like, y'all need to pay me some money. How much is gonna be? If I had to guess how much money it was, this is a tough one. Because I'm trying to think, if I'm Drake's attorney, what would I advise him to take? What would I advise Drake to take? If they came in and they said, Tim, see, you know what? I don't know who the attorney is, but see me, how many figures is that? It had to be 8 figures. It had to be 8 figures. Because I know, because of what has happened with the FCC. That's why I'm like, no, wait, hold up. Y'all got a whole nother problem over here. And it's going to cost you a lot of money to get rid of me. So I would say high 50 mil. Or we can go forward with the shit, because I'm suing UMG anyway. Now, if there is, and I think I recall something about a motion to dismiss. If I'm worried about that motion to dismiss, I might try to get a quick amount from iHeart. It's not going to be no damn 6 figures. It's not going to be that. It may be low 8 figures. And if Drake was like, man, I just want this part to be over so I can go here, and they're offering 7, yeah, I would say take it. But otherwise, I'd be like, I ain't selling it. I'm not settling with anyone yet. Keep them all in the shit unless they're giving up documentation on UMG. And the documentation that they give up on UMG, the evidence, may not implicate iHeart at all. They may just be in the know and tell you, look, you want to know what happened? Go to promoter A. And you're like, wait, but we're talking to promoter C. It's like, yeah, that promoter knows something, but promoter A knows everything about it. It's like, oh, cool. That might be worth it. Anyway, given iHeartMedia's status as the #1 audio company in the country, petitioner believes that UMG engaged in similar tactics to drive radio play of Not Like Us on iHeartMedia stations. It would only follow. I think if UMG engaged in this behavior, I believe that iHeart did receive something. I do. I would believe that. I would be surprised if they didn't, but it's a possibility that they didn't. UMG also directed its digital marketing team to use discretionary funds provided or reimbursed by UMG to pay unknown third parties to share the Not Like Us song and video in the days after they were released. This is the thing too. And this is I think Not Like Us is the end when it comes to the rap beef with Drake. Like it wasn't no, oh, let me make a song after that. It goes too hard or what have you. But UMG should not be interfering. They shouldn't. If you go pay for every song in the rap beef to go, or you not. Because I don't know, is it possible Drake had some songs, sitting there that could have went like that? It's possible. if they heard him, but I get Kendrick's here with the song. What you want us to do, Demetrius? He's here with he got the joy right here. Oh, this can go. Should they pay? I think they should stay out of it. Yeah, I think this was not it was a smart business move, but I'm not sure it was the right move overall for them. Just stay out of it. Both these dudes are your artists. Stay out of it. Yeah. Now, let me say this though. If there is a possibility though that UMG was like, yo, we did stay out of it. This was a Interscope thing. This was because I don't know if Top Dog has anything to do with this, because Top Dog isn't, you know what? I just realized Top Dog was not named in Drake's complaints either. That's a smart move. That's a smart move. I'm still pissed about trying to make Kendrick seem like he was going off on Drake because because Kendrick is, because Drake is Jewish. I think that shit's ridiculous. And I'm always going to say that. That being said, that was a smart move. So you could allege, if you're UMG, you could say this was an Interscope thing. Okay. I think Interscope is named in the soup though, but we stayed out of it, but that's Kendrick's label. What are they supposed to do? So I get that. And that's an example of a court of public opinion argument, right? That's not a court of law argument, really, unless we're just talking about liability of UMG and them trying to say it wasn't us, it was this subsidiary. They're a wholly owned subsidiary. So all the shit that they do, you got to sue them for that. You got to get money from them for that. I could see that, but court of public opinion, if my gavel was unwrapped, I'd make a ruling on this shit and say UMG should have stayed out of it. The purpose of UMG's payments to third parties was to inflate artificially the metrics reported relating to Not Like Us, to encourage media and music critic commentary, and ultimately to make it go viral. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't. You can, but you can't do it in a way that suggests payola. If these allegations are true, you can't do it like that. Yeah. But no, can't do it like that. One whistleblower whose identity is unknown revealed publicly that someone from management paid him thousands of dollars on May 6, 2024 to use bots to achieve 30 million streams of Not Like Us on Spotify in the days immediately after its release, to turn Not Like Us into a crazy hit. Bots appear to be real social media accounts, but are in fact software programs designed to mimic human behavior. Okay. That being said, I want to talk about this now. I got to talk about this now. Did I already close that article? I got to talk about this now. What the fuck is up with Facebook? Why is Facebook using in late 2024, Meta announced plans to introduce AI characters equipped with bios and profile pictures capable of generating and sharing content similar to human users. We expect, now this is what Connor Hayes, Meta's vice president of product for generative AI, stated. We expect these AIs to actually over time exist on our platforms, kind of in the same way that accounts do. The fuck? This is what I think. I think that Facebook is so shit of a place that Facebook, Meta, is trying to come up with all types of shit to make it seem like it's still a success. So the people who are on it that use it will interact. They're trying to get us to interact more, to use it more, to be on it more. When what you should do is make a better platform. Honestly, if you go make fake profiles to get us to use your shitty platform more. If Meta hadn't bought Instagram, it would be in a world of goddamn trouble. Or just a world of trouble. Because that makes me not want to use Facebook. In fact, what it says to me is that if the right platform comes along, and hopefully it's something invented by black people, if the right platform comes along, we will all get the fuck off Facebook and go someplace else. I never imagined that as a possibility. I thought that, okay, after a certain point, there's a stickiness that develops where we're just going to stick with the platform or what have you. But now I'm beginning to see, no, we'll just stop using it and go do something else that we find enjoyable, more enjoyable than dicking around on Facebook. But they're using, and I wonder if that's part of the business model too, where it's like, oh, if we make all these fake accounts, or not, I'm sorry, generative AI, fuck that, I'm calling it fake accounts. If we make these fake accounts, then they can do the same things that these click farms are doing, right? I could have a product, pay Facebook, well, I don't know, let's say they make 30 million. I don't know how many fake accounts they are, generative AI accounts. When I say fake accounts, I'm referring to generative AI accounts because they're not humans. So, and they're not buying nothing. These accounts are not buying anything. They're not invested in what happens to you. They aren't giving you, they don't care about you. It doesn't. And I love some chat. I love some chat GPT. It's an incredible tool, but I don't think it actually cares about me. So if you set these accounts up, you can do the same thing that these click farms are doing on behalf of, well, given what Drake has alleged that UMG and iHeart may have participated in, or rather UMG, I think it's only, I don't think iHeart is charged. No, it's not an allegation that iHeart engaged in behavior where it had fake streams or whatever, more so that's just playing. I believe that's what they're playing. They're engaged in payola is what the allegation is here, possibly. But then the streaming platforms will be able to share your shit and make it seem like it's organic, make it seem like nobody paid for it, make it seem like, oh no, this is really a reel that's cracking because it's cracking. When I see things that are like featured or whatever, I know, okay, whatever platform this is, they have decided to feature this. And sometimes you may click on it, sometimes you may not. It just really depends. So, but you know that, oh, this has this has some help. This isn't totally independent, right? With this, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. So again, we get into a situation that unless you have money, you can't really participate in what should be, for the most part, a meritocracy in entertainment, in that we want the best entertainment to win out. We want the creativity to win out. We want the creators who are creating the things that deserve to be at the top to win out. Instead, we get into this whole money thing. And also keep in mind too, when you get into a money thing, you're also getting into a oppression thing, because we got systems, whether it's white supremacy, whether it's patriarchy, whether it's trans hate, you name it, to push certain things down and elevate other things that may not be as creative, that may not be product that is on the same level, and just may not be good, right? Because who's going to decide who pays Facebook for, if let's say Facebook has 30 million of these generative AI fake accounts, who do you think is going to get first crack at having their stuff shared? I can tell you what, it's not going to be rapper A Nice from down the street that's got 10 euros, 10 yen, $10. It's not going to be them. No, it's going to be somebody like UMG, who Facebook will be able to depend on consistently because they got 60 of the 100 Billboard hits, Hot 100 hits. And so, and then we have to look at the system and how shit is baked in. These companies are not run by people who look like Me. They're run typically by white men, right? Making white men decisions to benefit white men and white men's creativity. And then secondarily, white women's creativity. Some of it, you get what I'm saying? And so down the line. But what's not happening is we're not seeing like, oh, a meritocracy of creativity where it's like, oh, let's just push this up just because it's good. And even if we are, you have to disclose that to the consumer. So what we end up in with Facebook, this is honestly, whether they intend to or not, a setup for another fucking payola scheme. That's what it is. I was going to do a whole thing on that separately in the who owns what, the wild section, but it came up right then. So it's topical and it's kind of cool to like kind of integrate all this stuff together. Petitioner has received, petitioner brings this action for a discrete and specific purpose. I like that discrete. I like the use of that. To understand whether and how UMG funnel payments to iHeart and its radio stations as part of a pay to play scheme, petitioner has amassed sufficient facts to pursue certain tortuous claims against UMG, including but not limited to a claim for defamation, but currently lacks factual support necessary to determine whether he may bring claims of civil fraud. Oh, come on. And racketeering against UMG. Say that shit. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. Say it. Racketeering. Them RICO charges, baby. Them RICO charges. Man, let me tell you. That civil RICO, that joint is a beast. And you may say like, so what's RICO charges? In a nutshell, RICO charges are, because I want to make it as simple as possible. Basically, what you're saying is this is a criminal organization. This is a criminal enterprise. It's really what this is. And it was designed to get to assist law enforcement in arresting, and building cases against organized crime, right? But that's not its only use, because there's a civil RICO, and we need civil RICOs because sometimes these companies be out here RICOing. Well, they be out here racketeering. Right? That's what I'm not saying that's what UMG did. These are allegations, but I'm glad to see it in there. Stop playing. Stop playing with me. Stop. If I'm the attorney, I don't know. I can't wait to see who this attorney is, because I like their style where they waited and there's like, boom, hit their ass with that racketeer. I love it. Okay. Civil fraud and racketeering against UMG and its many as of yet unidentified co-conspirators who violated payola laws and accepted illicit payments and other things of value from UMG without disclosure. That's the point. You got to say it. You can take all the shit you want. You just got to say it. Hell, honestly, I wonder if you could just bury it on the website somewhere. Just do a list of who got paid what. No, you can't. Well, you can, but if you do it, everybody gonna know. Everybody gonna know. Because I will say this, people be reading now, and I like it. So we're going to quickly, we're not going to quickly do shit. This is the important part of this. Parties and deponents. Drake is an individual domiciled and residing in Washington County, Texas. Nice. iHeart is an audio media company incorporated in Delaware with a primary place of business in San Antonio, Texas. iHeartMedia's principal executive officers are located in San Antonio, Texas. iHeartMedia, through its radio division, iHeartRadio, operates more than 60 radio stations in Texas, including 9. All of this is to substantiate that iHeart, it can be sued in Texas. That's all this is. iHeart may be served via its registered agent in CT Corporation Systems at 1999 Bryan Street, Suite 900, Dallas, Texas. UMG is a wholly owned subsidiary of Universal, Yeah. All that's cool. So really, the deponents are going to be a number of executives in this company. I'm going to skip over jurisdiction and venue only because I have covered this in the 4 previous parts of the Drake UMG beef. So I don't want to like every time read all that over. Instead, I want to get to the important parts in this. Rule 202 permits a party to investigate potential claims via pre-suit depositions. Okay, we've covered that. Here are the limited depositions. Okay, now here the limited 202 depositions petitioner proposes are the most efficient method for him to understand the role of iHeartMedia in UMG's scheme to unlawfully promote Not Like Us based on the minimum information already available to petitioner. The testimony sought is necessary for petitioner to understand and evaluate his potential claims. This is good because you don't want people taking shit to court and they haven't been able to investigate the facts. I love this rule because petitioner only seeks this limited testimony and the benefit of allowing petitioner to take the requested depositions outweighs any associated burden or expense to iHeartMedia and UMG. This is true. I like this. Moreover, the interest of justice, phrase we learn in law school, love it, is served by allowing petitioner to investigate potential claims before filing. These depositions are necessary as part of the requirements of Texas Rule of Civil Procedure 13 for petitioner to make an informed decision about any future legal action. I love it. This is true. Petitioner seeks an oral deposition of iHeartMedia via corporate representatives to investigate evidence of UMG's provision of financial benefits to iHeartMedia in exchange for obtaining airplay of Not Like Us, to spread the song to billions of listeners, and to learn the identities and practices of any direct participants in a pay-to-play scheme, including any intermediaries who may be involved. Now, these people who are intermediaries, technically, I believe they could be charged as defendant. Well, they could be successfully sued as well. I hate to use charge because we get into criminal law, and I don't really want to say it that way, but that type of vernacular kind of stays with you even when you're an attorney throughout your life, where it's like charge, but that's not really what's going on. iHeartMedia may be involved, and then there's the iHeartMedia. Okay, yeah. He gives the address. I like this. Petitioner seeks an oral deposition of UMG via corporate representatives to investigate evidence of UMG's conspiracy to increase radio play for Not Like Us by providing iHeart with financial benefits, and to learn the identities and practices of any direct participants in a pay-to-play scheme, including any intermediaries who may have been involved. Now, keep in mind, and I've said this in other pods about this is not just about Drake. This can open all of the schemes, if they exist, in regards to every artist, all of them. And if you're UMG, you want to get rid of this shit. You want to close it. Now, I don't know to what extent they're pissed that their ego or is like, man, fuck Drake. We not telling them nothing. We gonna fight this or what have you. What I will say is this: if you know you've done some shit, right, and you can settle in a civil context without exposing the shit, do that shit. Because otherwise you don't know where it's going to go. You don't know. Like, I've had many discussions with people about Puffy and Cassie and what have you. And I said, look, if I knew that I had done any of the things that she alleged, because I believe, I could be wrong, I remember someone either saying or reading that, when Cassie's attorneys sent the settlement request, it was for $25 million. I'm like, if it had been me and I had done any of those things, I would have rejected the 25 million and said, nope, I'm going to give you 50 because I did this shit to you. It was wrong. And I don't know if Puffy got some help or whatever. Where I'm just talking about me. If I had done some fucked up shit like that, I'd be like, nah, here you go. Here you go. Right here. There you go. Hell, maybe even more. I just got to get the money together because he may not be liquid like that. But no, I would have said, no, that's rejected. It should be 50. That's it. And that's that. And I don't know who was giving old boy advice at that time. I don't know. And people say like, well, it was arrogance. Yeah, probably. It was definitely not the right move for sure. So now that we're here with UMG, I'm like, if you've done it and it could open all this, you might want to stop this now. But at the same time, maybe UMG is like thinking like, well, this ain't 2005. It could go different. People may not care. Old boy in that old boy I'm talking about, y'all know who. He ain't gonna really care about this, but the FCC is investigating, so maybe they would, So I'm like, just go ahead and sell this shit. I think UMG should go ahead and settle this with Drake and get this out of the headlines, because I think people. Like I was watching Joe Budden podcast and Parks was Freeze was like, I want to see where this goes. You goddamn right, Freeze. I want to see where it goes too. But I've been like that since it was filed, where I'm like, oh, no. Because people thought it was settled like that. And I'm like, once I read that complaint, did the pod on that complaint, I was like, this shit ain't going to settle like that. It's not going to settle like that. Because Drake sees what this could be. He sees that what he could get out of this. Drake could possibly become if he's not, he could become a billionaire from this suit. From this suit that could get him to where he needs to be. And even if that is only becoming a billionaire because the leverage that UMG thought they had as a result of Kendrick's song, Not Like Us, winning the battle, hands down, ending the shit and lowering Drake's cachet, playing this card puts the leverage back in his court, where it's like, as long as this shit continues, when it's time to renegotiate my deal, come on. I got something on y'all too. Except the thing that I got on y'all, if these allegations are true, it's not embarrassment. I ain't got embarrassed. I'm not going to embarrass y'all. I actually got a possible civil fraud RICO case, defamation, along with the government investigating. See, that's the other thing too. If you like, sometimes when you are pursuing a claim, right? You don't have to do the work. You can let that agency do the work, right? So I do this thing on Thursdays. I haven't talked about this yet. This is part of the whole thing I was going to talk about, called Revenge Thursdays, where I get revenge on my enemies, people who have wronged me, people that I care about, motherfuckers I don't like because they've done something where I'm like, that's fucked up. And I seek justice for people. And so I remember this kind of came out of something that I heard Oprah say once, where she was talking about someone that forgiveness is for you as well as the other person. Where she saw one, it might have been in Chicago, I'm not sure, but when I tell the story, it's going to be, saw somebody on the Miracle Mile walking that she was mad at, and she saw him and immediately got mad. And the person, though, they didn't see her, and they were just going around frolicking. Chicago cold as hell in the winter, so they probably was like this frolicking if it was winter. And they weren't thinking about her. She was like, I'm over here mad. They ain't thinking about me. And I was like, man, that's a very good point. I ain't motherfucking Oprah. I will keep my grudge. And because I don't walk around mad all the time. But when I see that person or encounter that company or those individuals or whatever, I don't fuck with them. I'm mad. I'm not about to be happy. I'm not forgiving you, because that ain't me. Instead, though, what I do is, because I will take my Thursday, and my Thursday is dedicated to getting back at those people. That's what I do. Or those companies, because y'all know a lot of times companies be screwing us over. When did this thing happen where companies are trying to pay, not even pay, are trying to get me to do all their work for free? You go to the market, and I know Scan Yourself has been there for forever. It has. But that's people trying to get you to do it yourself. Do it when they should be paying people to do it. I'm in Turkey, in Istanbul, in a Zara. What do I see? They got a damn self-checkout. Did we use it? Yes. It was lovely. You just go, you check out. There you go. But fuck that. I'm paying enough for you to do it. No, I can get into so many things online where I'm like, y'all are pretty much paying me, not even paying. Y'all are using my life force, my time to get me to do work for you so I can give you money. Kind of shit is that? So I say all that to say, in regards to my revenge and what have you when it comes to UMG, Drake is getting revenge. Squash this shit. UMG, just squash it, because we know what's going to come out. If he's alleging this, that's because he knows something. Now, how much it's worth, I don't know. But iHeart, they thinking, they smart. They're like, no, let's just get out of this, because we already being looked. We already got the feds looking at us. So let's just get out of this. Critical evidence relevant to petitioner's claim, including the identities of potential defendants, and this is what I was saying, is not available to him. So the depositions, and what a deposition is basically it gives you the opportunity to ask people questions under oath. That's it. They agree to tell the truth. You cut on the cameras, it's almost like a podcast in a way, where you're interviewing them. And except for they have somebody next to them that say, you don't have to answer that. And there'll be objections and then you have to go to court. And then the judge may say, oh, yeah, you have to answer that. Judge may say, no, you don't have to answer that. It just really depends. So, and that's what it is. And then you get information. I think that UMG should settle this before they have to give depositions. The benefit of allowing the requested deposition outweighs the burden or expense of the procedure. I agree. It does. If Drake has any information that this may have happened, it's nothing for people to come sit for a deposition for an hour and to answer questions truthfully. That's all he's asking for. Okay. Yeah, this is important. Texas Rule of Civil Procedure 202 enables a person to petition the court for an order authorizing the taking of a deposition to investigate potential claim or suit. A court must order a deposition requested if it finds that the likely benefit of allowing the petitioner to take the requested deposition to investigate a potential claim outweighs the burden or expense of the procedure. Critical evidence relevant to petitioner's potential claims, including but not limited to, one of my favorite phrases in law and just life, including but not limited to. So this, but some other shit that I may not know. The identities of unknown defendants is not available to him, and without the requested deposition, he may be unable to pursue such claims. Pretty much anybody involved in this is a potential defendant, right? And so what you'll do as an attorney is you'll find these defendants, you'll add them to you'll either add or tell them, I'm going to add you. But if you have information that you can give me, then I may not need to add you. I may not need to call you as a witness. I may not need to sue you. And this is the other thing you can do. You can settle with people for $1, a nominal amount, where it's like, and they can admit what they did. Right. And that's the settlement. Now they'll have to come and testify because the other side will call them and, attack the veracity of what it is that they're claiming. Don't give a shit. And then you can just line them all up, because if this happened, there's so many people involved in this. There's so many people involved in this who are potential defendants, but more importantly, they are potential sources for information. For the reasons said above, petitioner avers that the likely benefit of allowing petitioner to take the requested deposition to investigate potential claims outweighs the burden or the expense of the procedure. Authority, other interested persons. Petitioners unaware of other interested persons at this time. Prayer for relief. Oh, okay. I see the attorney too. I gotta look them up. Petitioner respectfully requests the court issue an order setting a date for hearing on this petition with at least 15 days notice. And after that hearing, issue an order requiring iHeartMedia court representatives to testify by oral deposition related to the matters described herein, require UMG's corporate representative to testify by oral deposition related to the matters described herein, and for all other relief at law or in equity. Equity is fairness. So equity, so in law, right? Law, that's just like actual like law, statutes or what have you. Equity is a doctrine of fairness, what is right. One of my favorite claims is promissory estoppel, where somebody makes a promise, but you don't have a contract. And so, this is very good. Oftentimes people talk about, well, it's not written down, talking about contracts, this, that, what have you. You never get it. But you can also sue someone in equity about fairness, in that, let's say you and I have an agreement where I'm like, it's not written down or what have you, but I make a promise to you saying I'll do anything. I'll do X. And you say, and as a result of that, me doing X, you have agreed to do B. But in order to do B, you have to go and buy something, right? You go out, you buy whatever it is. Let's say you go make me a beat. So you go out and you buy 808 drum. What was that? You go and you purchase studio time, non-refundable for me. Yeah. Say you go record me, something like that. Okay, that's cool. You go record my pod, right? You go out, you get the studio time to record the pod or what have you. You come back and I'm like, oh, never mind, I'm not gonna do it. I would still have to either pay you for that, that studio time, or if you were gonna make some money from it or something like that. Let's say you would go get a G for doing it. I may still have to pay you that G for doing it, right? And you may say, why? Promissory estoppel. You rely on my promise to your detriment. Detriment meaning you paid out some money or something like that. That's in its simplest form. That would be inequity. Okay. There's so many different. I can do Patreon. I will do equity. Speaking of which, I have to get a number. So for people to call in, leave your messages so I can answer some of your questions, whether they be legal, they be business, or you're just trying to make a life decision and you need some assistance with that. These are all things that happen at my firm, Nelson and Murdoch, or just in my life as a consultant to people. So I want to give people the opportunity to call them. If they're interesting, then it may end up on air. There'll be a list of different options via the Patreon that you can use for these things too. If you're like, I don't care about being on air, I just need some help with this, along with the prices and what have you. But that being said, I think they need to settle this. I need to look up this firm, Ahmad, Zavastanos and Messing. Yeah, it's nice to see some. I think Ahmad might be something other than the normal white dudes that I see on a lot of these matters with black celebrities, where I'm like, y'all are not hiring enough black attorneys within these companies. Now let me look at this firm. Okay, I see some women. I see a black dude. Oh, I see. I see a few black dudes, see a few women. I don't see any. Oh, they go a black woman. Yeah, it's a pretty diverse firm. I will say this. So far, Drake has hired firms that appear to be diverse when you scan. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying like, it's like an all black firm. I see here maybe 3 black people. I see some Asian people, I think, and I see some brownness here. I see something that it doesn't look like just white people or white dudes. So it seems to be, seems to be a diverse firm. I do like that. Now, let me see who Drake's attorney is, because John Zavastanos signed it. Let me see who he is. I did like that. That was a great petition. John Valastamos. Okay. He's a lead lawyer in defense cases. Okay. All right. That was good. Now let me see who else is on here, because I want everybody to get their shine. Daryl Moore. So, of course, there is a name partner handling Drake's matter. Mod Zastavos. Oh, there we go. Okay, he's a partner. Oh, he used to be a judge. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Monica Uden. Zastavos. Let's see. Uden. Monica Uden. Trial lawyer. I can't tell if she's black, but she doesn't look like a white girl. So finally she's on here. Yeah. University of Chicago. Okay. That's what's up. I like this. It's like, yeah, finally. Damn. Because when I look in this last matter with Jay-Z, he was being sued, along with Puffy, in regards to the alleged sexual assault of the woman. Jay-Z and Elon Musk have the same attorney who works for Quinn Emanuel. And Quinn Emanuel is handling, I believe, the case that Jay-Z has filed against the attorney who represented her, Busby. I think that's his name, Attorney Busby, for extortion. I think I don't know what all it includes in it. Hold on, let me pull that up. Complaint for extortion and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Okay, so Jay-Z has filed that against him, and it's being handled, I believe at the time, it's being handled by Quinn. But Alex Shapiro, and I'm sorry, not Shapiro, Alex Spiro. I hope I'm getting it right. I think he is an excellent attorney, but I'm not having the same attorney as Elon, especially like the cases that I saw that he's handled for Jay-Z. There've been layups. These are layups where I'm like, this last one with the woman who was alleging the assault. That's the one that anybody could win, because the facts are not lining up, right? And there are a few things that went on. One, there was so Busby, I don't believe he was barred in New York. So he needed to become barred in New York in order to pursue the case. And there were petitions filed against him actually, him being allowed to practice in New York for the case, and then subsequently given. And I don't know why it's dropped. I can't say that, but I think that has something to do with it, along with the factual allegations not lining up or making sense, giving the facts of where Jay-Z was, in a number of things. It just didn't line up, right? That was going to happen regardless of who was the attorney. So I haven't seen anything that suggests that, Alex is such a good attorney that I can't find anybody else to do this. There are plenty of black attorneys who are better. Plenty. But for some reason, they're not. And I think they're at Quinn. Now, there are politics within firms where it's like, you may be able to, it may be seen as, this is my client, this, that, or whatever. You, as the black person who is trying to elevate black people to help us, help those who have helped themselves, who are in the position where you can say, hey, every case I bring here, I expect there to be one black attorney on the matter, right? If you do that, that's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. If you do that, that helps that black attorney in their career, right? Because it's like, oh, I worked on this case, I worked on that case. And then they're becoming partners in these firms, which help. And these attorneys are going to do what? Go and help more black attorneys. They can send cases their way. They can help mentor people to give them other options. The point of building this wealth is to help those who, well, I would hope. Well, no, I will say this about Jay-Z. He has done a number of things where it's just like, oh, he wants to do this and he wants to do that. It doesn't mean everything. It doesn't mean everything, because I can do a whole pod about some of the shit where I'm like, the fuck? No, no, we ain't got all we can out of kneeling, you know. But that being said, that's the point of this, to help other people who are being oppressed, who have been oppressed, right? That's it. Like if I think about like plenty of the songs that I listened to by Jay-Z, some of them while I was in law school, and like some of the nuggets of wisdom or what have you, putting that black dude, putting that black woman there, putting that black trans person there, or what have you. Those are the people that may go back to Marcy Projects and help somebody, right? Those are the people who will help increase that number of black lawyers, because I think it may be 6% or something like that of all lawyers, may help that. And not only the black, anybody, it will give them a shot. You want people who have those same experiences and values to be there. I had a friend, I remember, he became a prosecutor. I was very happy he was a prosecutor, because I know him and I know he has an understanding of shit that people who did not grow up under the same white supremacist patriarchy as black people or around black women don't look at things the same way that we do, right? They don't have the same sensibilities. They can't muster the same empathy that I know he can, right? Or we don't even have the same access to them. Like he and I'm not going to say who. We had a big argument about this one particular rapper who had some federal charges, and he was in a closet, and I think he shot at some federal officers. And we had a discussion about this. And I was like, man, you know, we're talking. I was like, he may not have known. And so he and I had this debate, and in the end, though, at least because it was him, there was somebody to speak on behalf of this dude who may not have known. Now, I can't get into the particulars of the case because I only knew what was going on in the news. But it's nice for that to be the possibility of that rapport, rather than just punishment, send us out of jail, punishment. That will continue not to happen if we don't take these opportunities to elevate one another, because other people are not doing it to the extent that they need to, because they don't value that diversity. Hell, it's an assault on it. So now, while you're in this position, whoever you are, you may not even be Jay-Z. You may just be somebody going into a law office, right? And you don't have to be black to do this, right? You can, and I know I'm like, right? But I'm saying you don't have to be black to do this. You can just decide, you know what? I'm going to start executing my values. I'm going to start, if old boy is against DUI, I'm gonna make my own DUI. DEI, right? That's what I'm about to do. I'm gonna enact my own policies as like, if I'm gonna spend money with y'all, you have to do this, this, and this. And I say the same thing for people who run around here with these teams that are all white and they don't have, you know, black people on their teams, and they're black. Shame on you. Shame on you. Because who was that? It was a black girl, I believe, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am, working for Hulk Hogan. And then she wasn't. This is what I'm talking about. The people who are proponents of white supremacy, and yes, I do think Hulk Hogan is, they're not going to hire us, right? And not, at least not for anything that is something we want to do, anything that helps us live up to our potential, anything that isn't in a full-on servant capacity. I'm not going to get into this other thing because I have a segment. I'm going to do it next time. TV is the new Bible. And we talk about the lessons that we learn from television. I learned so many lessons from TV. It's ridiculous. That being said, I want to get back to Alex. Alex also represents Elon Musk. No. I wouldn't even, me personally, I would not even want my attorney to be entrusted with secrets if he's gallivanting around with this motherfucker. There was this other attorney that I think worked with Jay-Z. Hold on, let me see. Attorney who won't represent Puffy Diddy because of Jay-Z, association with Jay-Z. Joe Tacopina, the lawyer for A$AP Rocky, declined to represent Sean in a case due to his ties to Jay-Z. You see what I'm saying? Well, if that's the case, Alex can decline to represent Elon due to his ties to Jay-Z. This is what I think this is the right way to handle it. This dude should be handling all the cases, and he should have a black person with him. That's just it. But I wouldn't even want my attorney having information, because you share a lot with your attorney. You share a lot. I think you might share more with your attorney than your mama. I don't need nobody knowing all them secrets. and being around Elon? No. Especially for layups. These are layup cases. Yeah. So anyway, okay. That's enough. That's all I got. There will not be a judgment rendered today. I will unwrap this at some point. Yeah. And then boom, start judging some shit. Boom. Not gonna do that right now. For now, I'm just gonna conclude and say this. UMG, settle this shit. Just settle it now. Now, the next, in one of these pods, I still have to do their answer, because maybe it's something in their answer that says like, nah, we ain't gonna settle this. We going hard. We're going harder. Maybe it is. I'm going to get to that answer. But let me just say this. In the meantime, I say this at the end. Please remember to subscribe, like, and I'm going to get that number. And I'm looking forward to I'm going to get that number, and I'm looking forward to getting your calls for advice, for counsel. I'm not your lawyer. Unless we execute a retainer agreement, but I will help in making decisions. I will provide some legal advice, not as your lawyer. And I would tell you to consult with an attorney. But yeah, in the meantime, in between time, I appreciate y'all supporting, and I like all the messages that I've gotten. Thank you very much. And we will be back with another episode 7 soon. I think I'm going to do the rundown in that one. But hey, just be kind to each other if you can. Just love each other. It's a crazy ass time. I hope I have provided some information that helps make your life just a little bit better. And I will continue to do so, God willing. Thank you.